I just went in the garden and found these things. We have some doves. And in this video I want to talk about how to get over an artistic block or anxiety to be creative. And while I am talking about those things, I thought it would be nice to make some sketches of these things. So let's see. As you might have experienced or are experiencing, sometimes as an artist you don't know what you want to do. You're out of ideas. What seemed fresh isn't fresh anymore, and you just don't feel like drawing or painting anymore. What would you draw? Why? Is there a point in everything? So I just want to talk about a few things. I've written them down. So I thought it would be fun to, or interesting, not sure if it's fun, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about those things, and maybe it's helpful to you to have some ideas, some suggestions about how to deal with that. So the first suggestion that I make when you are feeling like you're when you're not feeling it, is to do nothing for a while. I mean, you do not have to make art all the time. Take a rest. Art is connected to your life, your experiences, and it's good to focus on other things than art. Maybe you have another hobby. Maybe you want to go see that movie. Maybe you want to write some poetry or a book. And why not? Or just do nothing creative for a while. It's good to be refreshed in such a way. So, and when you have had new experiences, maybe that gives you new inspiration at a later stage, or not, but who knows. But life is connected to, art is connected to life, I want to say, and just live your life and work on another aspect of your life, and maybe there comes some inspiration from which you can use in your art later. So just leave things for a while. I'm trying to draw this leaf. I'm just using a simple notebook. You can always have a little notebook in your pocket and a ballpoint and draw a little bit. Draw just whatever you find in the garden or on the street. Or, I mean, such a leaf is a very interesting shape to draw. The second suggestion that I have when you are in an artistic block situation is to buy a new pencil, buy some new paper, a drawing pad. Make it feel fresh again. It doesn't have to be expensive. I always like to watch art materials in a store. And when you buy a new drawing pad or a new pen or pencil, it can feel fresh again to a certain extent. But it feels like you're making a new start. It's fun to have something else in your hands, a new fine liner or a new ballpoint, maybe with a color that you didn't use before, or a nice pencil. Maybe you always worked with HB and now you bought a 2B pencil, and that's also interesting. So maybe you can try something new with that. I'm having fun with this. I think I might make a video, more videos, just doing this instead of drawing beautiful faces as source material. Just a leaf is very interesting. The third thought I have is clean up the space where you are drawing and painting. That can help too. Maybe it's just a mess, and when there are several things that you are looking at whenever you are in your studio, it's harder to focus because maybe you have a few different paintings that are unfinished, and you could work on this painting and that painting, and where do you begin? So it can help you focus to put certain things out of the way, out of sight, and just choose one thing that you want to work on, one painting that you want to finish. It can help you focus a bit. And you can also change the space where you are drawing or painting. If you have painted or drawn at the same place, the same easel for a long time, it starts to feel all too familiar. I like to draw or paint in a little separate room sometimes, but I often sit in the kitchen. That's I sit in the kitchen now as well. It's my favorite place. This is my situation now. So this is where I put my camera in. I have a very small Canon G7X camera. There are some photos there of a painting that I'm working on. Some little sculptures, so you get the idea. So you can change your environment, and maybe you can take some drawing materials and go outside. That's also refreshing. Another suggestion that I could make is read a good book or watch a documentary. There are lots of documentaries on YouTube for free that you can watch if you don't have Netflix or something. There's a lot to see for free. So and when you read a book or you see something else, even if it's totally unrelated to your art, some words or phrases can trigger a thought which is connected to the things that you are working on in your artistic endeavors. So you do not have to be busy with your art to get a new insight, a new idea. So it can be helpful to do something which is totally unrelated to your art as well. So that's something to think about. Just read a good book, and it can just be refreshing, and maybe you just have a new outlook on things, or just had some fun doing that while not working on a painting or a drawing or whatever. And that's okay too. Another suggestion that I want to make: visit a museum or an exhibition in a city or a place and make it a nice day trip. If you have the opportunity, go somewhere, maybe with a friend, have something nice to eat, spend some time in a beautiful museum. Maybe you can walk in the park somewhere, and yeah, spend some time with a friend if you have someone that you can go there to with. And it's always refreshing to go to a place and do that. And maybe it brings new ideas to your art as well, because a museum is, after all, a place where you can see art. So that's also a way to refresh your artistic self. Let's see, I need some more shadow here. Talking about things and drawing at the same time while I'm not talking about the drawing is a bit confusing sometimes. It's not always it's not the same as focusing on that one drawing. Let's see, this is also nice. A feather. Another thought: think of what made you draw or paint or whatever you do creatively in the first place. So sometimes you can become very ambitious and you think, oh, it should be this or that, or it should be art, and art is this or that. And at some point you can lose track of what actually made you have fun making art. So it's possible that you have to make a living, and I totally understand it. If you are a working artist, you have to produce a certain amount of paintings or drawings. So I totally understand it if you have to do that. If you make your hobby your work, you lose your hobby in a way. It becomes work, and yeah. But it's still nice to have fun with it, to feel it as a passion. And if that's a problem, you can look at your art and think, well, am I on the right track stylistically? Or I mean, everything you have to do for work, it sometimes you just have to do things that you do not like. But or maybe you have become too ambitious in a way that you think, oh, it should be this or that. And maybe that's the wrong thought. Maybe it's, I mean, I understand being ambitious, I know that. And that's important, to be passionate about things and see yourself in a sort of competition with great masters that you want to approach. But it's also good perhaps to reserve a few hours of your time and say, I'm going to make something totally for the fun of it. It doesn't have to be a good painting or drawing. I mean, your level will always shine through, but just do something for the fun of it. Just say, well, between 3 and 4 o'clock, or between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock at night, this is me time, and this is fun, drawing fun time. So even if you're a serious artist and you have serious subject matter, maybe do something fun and silly, and it doesn't have to be great or interesting or whatever, just for the fun of it, just because you enjoy putting a pen on the paper and nothing else. I mean, that's where it's in the end comes down to, sometimes just having the joy of putting a pen on the paper and move it around a bit and see that something is happening on the paper, like this little feather. I mean, it's just a little feather, but it's a very interesting shape, actually. I'm not sure if these are really good drawings, but I'm having fun doing this. Another suggestion is put simple art materials at various places where you live. I mean, a little notebook, ballpoint, and put them in your living room, a little notebook and a pencil beside your bed, in the kitchen, next to your computer. Put some objects like this, or you can put some source material that you have selected on your iPhone or phone. Maybe you have an Android phone, those are also good. I have an old iPhone 5, which is very old by now, but I like it. But the point is to lower the barrier as much as possible to pick up a pencil and paper or ballpoint and paper and do something. Just start to draw and just make it very easy to pick up at some point when maybe you have some time left, nothing on TV, bored with a video game or whatever. I don't play video games, but who knows? And just make a little quick drawing. And the point is, even if you have a team, I'm not doing this usually, but I actually enjoy this. What you can do shines through anyway. So, but it's more. This suggestion is more to get you going, to have something lying around and you can pick it up easily, and lower the barrier as much as possible to pick up something and do something, draw something. So, or maybe, maybe you write poetry and you put a notebook somewhere all around the house to write down something like that. But you get the idea. Make it very easy to start drawing in this case. Another suggestion, maybe you need a new theme for your art. You can go online to find so-called prompts to work from. I even saw a prompt generator that's, let's say, a word or a line that can give you inspiration for something. So you could also open up a random book and put your finger on a word. So here is a book. Just put your finger, and this is a Dutch word for vermilion. So used vermilion, they used vermilion. I don't know. In such a way, now I'm going to think about what I can do with vermilion. I have a tube here, vermilion, actually, purely coincidental. Let's put it here. And that's my next drawing. Another thing that you could do is just a simple idea. I never did this myself, but who knows, maybe this is useful for someone listening. You could, for example, write down in a few words what your art is about and try to find the opposite words. So go online and put in some of the words that describe your art and find the opposite definitions. There must be some sort of online website that does that. And maybe it gives you a new idea. Sometimes a contrast or the opposite thing can be very illuminating. Thinking about those things. I never did that myself, but I thought about it. So maybe it's something that you could do. So that's an idea. Another suggestion or a thought that I have, are you too much a perfectionist? Maybe you have a sort of artistic block, maybe for more years than one, because you have a certain mindset. Maybe it's good to remember that what you are making does not have to be perfect, because perfection is actually quite boring. When you look at the most perfect Vermeer painting, let's say the Milkmaid or the Art of Painting, there are some mistakes in those paintings. Those paintings aren't perfect. So I could point out things in those paintings of which I say, well, he could have done a better job at that. Or he was struggling there and there. But those are the best paintings in the world. Literally. I mean, the Art of Painting of Vermeer or the Milkmaid by Vermeer. You're talking about one of the greatest artists ever. Some of his masterpieces, undisputed. And those paintings are not perfect. So, perfection, don't let perfection stand in the way of making a very good painting. And the thought of making a perfect painting can make you freeze before you even start. So maybe that's something in your mindset that you can work on. So who knows, maybe someone hears this and maybe it's useful for that person. I hope so. This little tube that I'm drawing is not perfect either. Let's see. And another suggestion, and then I stop with suggestions. But let's see. Is you could make a dedicated Instagram page for your art. So when you are drawing and painting, it can be very stimulating to build up an audience and to have an audience that is sympathetic to what you are drawing and painting. People who follow you and who are happy to see a new drawing that you have made. So that can be very inspiring, stimulating to do that, and they can give feedback. So that is also interesting. Reflecting on your art. So these are some of the things that I wanted to mention, and maybe it's useful for you. Maybe you can do several of these things. I will put some timestamps in the description. But I hope this is useful for you. And yeah, try to have fun drawing and painting. And sometimes it's good to go back to a simple way of approaching things. This is actually the vermilion part that I'm doing now. I should make a little sketch of this, just to, otherwise it's not complete. Just a very quick sketch. And sometimes there is no quick fix. I mean, the things that I just mentioned were quick fixes, so to speak. I mean, I've had it for a long time that if I found it difficult to determine what I wanted to paint, why I wanted to paint, and I had more pleasure in doing things around painting. So trying to decipher how the old masters painted, but I did not paint much myself, and I try to paint more nowadays because I really want to leave some nice paintings one day. I want to have the feeling that I have made some really nice paintings. But yeah, it's sometimes a struggle to just actually paint, to pick up the brush as if something is a bit bothering me. So it's not that I am immune to that, it's something that I have to deal with, a certain, I don't know, that I actually find other things more interesting around painting than painting itself. But I want to create some really nice paintings in my life. So that's something that I'm struggling myself with. So I must say it's nice to just put some objects on the table and draw a little bit instead of photographs. Nothing wrong with photographs as source material, but this is also fun to do. And seeing a three-dimensional object to draw is different from drawing a two-dimensional photograph. So I would encourage anyone to do something like this. And I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope it's useful to you. And if you made it until here, thank you for listening. And yeah, good luck with everything, what you do artistically and otherwise. Bye. Let's finish this a little bit.